provocative that you'll want to do that. You know, the father of the appreciative inquiry model, David Cooper Ryder, says, the minute you ask a question, change begins to occur. The minute you ask a question, change begins to occur. And so those questions become really paramount. And I'm going to have another question that is sort of good, that I'm going to give you in a few moments, that I'm going to ask you to think about definitely over this next 2 hours. And there's a couple of things that I have as far as a wish that I want you to walk away with today. And that is that potentially I would like you to be able to release some judgments around the generation. As David mentioned, one of my motives for even writing this book and doing 8 years of work in generational differences is because I wasn't noticing that people were noticing the gifts that each generation brought to the workplace. And for me, that is really crucial. It's not to see the deficits that we have, but to see the gifts that we have and to emphasize those. So how can we release a little bit of judgment today? And I could pretty much guarantee everybody's going to have a little bit of a release of that. And then you can move on to making that wish for the next generation come true. It's also about being curious and asking questions about another generation and digging deeper to find out what's important to them. The other part of that is seeing the gifts, and the other part is building a desire to actually share the wisdom and the knowledge that you have intergenerationally. And that's actually one of the biggest issues that we're up against right now in North America, is we have an exodus of the boomer generation over the next decade that's going to be completely out of the workplace, other than coming back on a part-time basis. And what we don't have is this knowledge and wisdom transfer that is so important to us. And part of that is that we're just getting in our own way. And so how do we get out of our own way in order to share that wisdom and that knowledge that we have? Knowledge is the skills and the knowledge that you bring and the ability that you have. The wisdom is that depth of experience that you can only get by being in the work itself. And how do you start to transfer both of those two?